Imagine a nation ripping itself apart, brother turning sword against brother, fields soaked in the blood of over 600,000 souls, all while one tall, somber man from the frontier watches the storm gather. This is a story of the American Civil War from 1861 to 1865 and the unbreakable resolve of Abraham Lincoln. Hello, history seekers, and welcome to this gripping journey through America's darkest hour. If this tale of division and defiance stirs something in you, drop a quick comment below. What's your favorite Civil War fact or figure? Now let us step back to the powder keg of 1860. The United States teetered on the brink. Slavery, that festering wound, split the land. The North, industrialized and increasingly abolitionist, clashed with the South, where cotton kings built empires on chained backs. Tensions boiled over when Abraham Lincoln, a lanky lawyer from Illinois with a voice like gravel and a mind sharp as a bayonet, won the presidency without a single Southern electoral vote. Southern states seethed. South Carolina fired the first shot in December 1860. Seceding in defiance. 6 more followed by February 1861, forming the Confederate States of America under Jefferson Davis. Lincoln, sworn in on March 4th, stood firm. In his inaugural address, he warned that no state could lawfully leave the Union, but whispers of war echoed louder. Fort Sumter, a lonely federal outpost in Charleston Harbor, became the flashpoint. On April the 12th, Confederate cannons roared to life, shattering the dawn. The bombardment lasted 34 hours. Major Robert Anderson surrendered, but no lives were lost. Yet, the war had begun. Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to crush the rebellion. 4 more states, Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, joined the Confederacy, swelling its ranks. The die was cast. A divided nation plunged into chaos, with Lincoln at the helm, steering through uncharted fury. As smoke cleared from Sumter, Lincoln moved like a chess master in shadows, suspending habeas corpus to jail suspected rebels without trial, igniting cries of tyranny from foes. The Union Army swelled, but green troops faced battle-hardened Southerners who knew every creek and hollow. First Bull Run, July 1861, shattered illusions of a quick victory. Picnic-goers in Washington fled as Confederates under Thomas Jackson, earning his Stonewall moniker, routed the Union lines. Reality sank in. This would be a grinding, bloody slog. Lincoln searched for generals equal to the task. Irvin McDowell failed. George McClellan, Little Mac, took command of the Army of the Potomac, a meticulous organizer who adored his men but loathed risking them. By spring 1862, McClellan launched the Peninsula Campaign, inching toward Richmond, the Confederate capital, via Chesapeake tides. Suspense mounted as Union ironclads clashed with Southern forts in Hampton Roads, revolutionizing naval warfare. But Robert E. Lee emerged from obscurity, assigned by Davis to defend Richmond. Lee's audacious strikes at the 7 Days' battles turned McClellan's advance into retreat. The Union dream of swift conquest evaporated. Meanwhile, Lincoln pushed his generals southward. In the West, Ulysses S. Grant, a quiet clerk-turned-soldier with a tenacious grip, captured Forts Henry and Donelson in February 1862. His demand unconditional surrender echoing nationwide. Shiloh followed in April, a horrific clash in Tennessee mud where 23,000 fell, testing Grant's steel. Lincoln wired him. Hold on. The war's tentacles spread, economies strained, families torn. Lincoln pondered a bolder stroke, emancipation, not just preservation of the Union. Whispers of slave revolts haunted Southern nights, while Northern factories churned rifles day and night. The conflict deepened, secrets unfolding in fog-shrouded valleys. Summer 1862 brought Antietam, the single bloodiest day in American history, a harvest of death near Sharpsburg, Maryland, that would reshape the war's soul. Lee's invasion of the North aimed to win foreign hearts and Northern despair. McClellan handed Lee's lost orders like a divine gift, intercepted him. Dawn broke on September 17th with cornfields trampled crimson, woods splintered by canister shot, bridges choked with the dying. 23,000 casualties in 12 hours, bodies piled like cordwood. McClellan claimed tactical victory, but halted pursuit, infuriating Lincoln. Yet from this carnage rose Lincoln's masterstroke. 5 days later, he issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, declaring slaves in rebel states free come January 1st, 1863. No longer just about union, now a crusade against slavery. Europe paused aid to the South. Lincoln fired McClellan, appointing Ambrose Burnside, whose blunder at Fredericksburg in December was catastrophe. 12,000 Union losses against Marye's Heights, defended by Lee's impregnable lines. "What planet does this man live on?" Lincoln muttered. Winter gripped the land, but intrigue brewed. The Confederacy eyed cotton diplomacy, smuggling bales for British guns, while spies like Rose Greenhow fed secrets from Washington salons. Lincoln, ever the storyteller, rallied the North with speeches blending resolve and melancholy. Grant pressed in the West, besieging Vicksburg on the Mississippi, key to splitting the Confederacy. The noose tightened. Spring 1863 whispered of turning tides as Lincoln navigated cabinet intrigues, draft riots looming in northern cities, and a war that tested the Republic's marrow. Chancellorsville in May 1863 crowned Lee's genius but sowed tragedy. Stonewall Jackson, shot by his own men in the confusion of wilderness flames, died whispering of lemon suckers. Emboldened, Lee invaded Pennsylvania again, culminating at Gettysburg, July 1st to 3rd, where fate hung on a razor's edge. Union General George Meade anchored the high ground, Little Round Top, Cemetery Ridge, Culp's Hill. Day 1 saw Confederates push Federals through town. Day 2, savage assaults like the Peach Orchard and Devil's Den, where Union marksmen crushed Alabama waves. Day 3 dawned with 150 Confederate cannons thundering Pickett's charge, 12,500 men marching into oblivion across a mile of open fields, met by canister and musketry. The high tide of the Confederacy broke, 51,000 total casualties scarring the hills. Lincoln fumed at Meade's caution, riding to the battlefield to dedicate it on November 19th with his 272-word Gettysburg Address. Government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish. Vicksburg surrendered to Grant on July 4th, the same day Lee retreated, cleaving the Confederacy. The Mississippi was Union now. Yet momentum shifted darkly in the east. Braxton Bragg's Chickamauga victory in September bloodied the West, but Grant's relief of Chattanooga in November's Cracker Line miracle starved no more. Lincoln, gaunt from worry, drafted the final Emancipation Proclamation, freeing 3.5 million. New Year 1863 dawned with moral fire lit, but Copperhead Peace Democrats plotted in shadows, and Lincoln's re-election loomed uncertain amid war weariness. 1864 tested Lincoln's iron will as Grant, promoted to general-in-chief, unleashed total war, vowing to grind Lee down. The Overland Campaign erupted in May. Wilderness thickets aflame, Spotsylvania's bloody angle a 20-hour slaughterhouse, Cold Harbor, where 7,000 Union fell in 20 minutes. Grant marched on, crossing the James toward Petersburg, settling into siege lines snaking 30 miles. Casualties mounted to 65,000, but the noose closed. Sherman in Georgia cut Atlanta's rails, burning the city in September. His telegraph to Lincoln, "Georgia is yours," sealing the president's re-election against George McClellan. Lincoln's second inaugural, March 1865, spoke haunting mercy, with malice toward none. As Richmond starved, whispers of collapse stirred. On April 2nd, Lee evacuated Petersburg after 10 months, abandoning the Confederate capital. Union troops poured in. Flames from Davis's fleeing officials lit the sky. Lincoln toured the smoldering streets on April 4th, shaking hands with freed slaves who knelt. Gently he urged them to rise as equals. Surrender loomed at Appomattox Courthouse on April 9th, where Grant's magnanimity let Lee's parched veterans keep horses for spring plowing. The war's ended, a courier gasped. Joy erupted northward, but shadows lingered. John Wilkes Booth, a venomous actor nursing Confederate sympathies, plotted amid Washington's gaiety. Lincoln dreamed uneasy of assassination, confiding fragments to aides. The man who preserved the Union sensed the fragility of peace. Victory's ink barely dry on Appomattox terms, Booth's dagger poised in Ford's theater shadows. April 14th, 1865, Good Friday, Lincoln, weary victor, sought respite with Mary at a performance of Our American Cousin. Booth, slipping through unsecured doors, fired a single Derringer ball into Lincoln's skull at 10:13 p.m. The president slumped. Chaos erupted. Booth leaped to the stage, boot shattering on a flag, snarling, sic semper tyrannis, before fleeing into Maryland night. Lincoln lingered 9 hours across the street at the Peterson House, physicians probing the mortal wound. At 7:22 a.m. he slipped away, pulse fading. Mary wailed. Stanton declared, "Now he belongs to the ages." The nation reeled. Funeral trains wound 1,700 miles from D.C. to Springfield, millions lining tracks in silent grief. Booth and conspirators scattered, but Union cavalry hunted relentlessly. David Harold and others captured. Booth cornered in a burning Virginia barn on April 26th, shot defying arrest. Trials condemned 4 to death, including Mary Surratt, the first woman hanged by the U.S., but Lincoln's legacy burned eternal. Born February 12, 1809, in a Kentucky log cabin, self-taught rail splitter, risen through Illinois law and Whig politics. Debates with Stephen Douglas in 1858 catapulted him nationally, his house divided warning prophetic. Married Mary Todd, father to 4 boys. 2 died young, etching sorrow deep. His humor masked melancholy, stories disarming critics. Through war's forge, he evolved from reluctant emancipator to moral titan. Flash back to Lincoln's pre-war forge, 1830s Illinois legislature, where he championed infrastructure over slavery's spread. 1846. Congress saw him challenge Polk on Mexican war grounds, earning spotty Lincoln barbs. Yet 1860's Republican nomination crowned him, platform pledging no slavery extension. War honed him, cabinet of rivals, Seward, Chase, Stanton, channeling discord into strength. Emancipation's arc bent slowly. Border states spared to preserve unity, but it fueled black troops, 180,000 strong, proving valor at Port Hudson, Milliken's Bend. Gettysburg's words enshrined democracy anew. Reconstruction visions stirred late. Pardons for most rebels, black suffrage urged, Louisiana plan tested. Assassin's bullets silenced specifics, leaving Johnson to fumble. Civil War's toll. 2% of population dead, South's economy ash, 4 million freed. Railroads knit the nation, Homestead Act spurred westward push, but scars festered Ku Klux terror, black codes mocking freedom. Lincoln's Bible oath echoed, preserve, protect, defend. His silhouette against Appomattox sunsets symbolizes rebirth from ruin. Deeper into the war's undercurrents, spies and saboteurs danced in twilight. Confederate agents torched New York's hotels in 1864, flames licking Broadway. Union balloonists floated above battles, telegraphing sightings. Women like Harriet Tubman led Combahee raid, freeing 750 slaves. Naval blockades strangled southern ports. David Farragut's damned the torpedoes at Mobile Bay. Lincoln's patent tinker's mind inspired inventions. His 1849 buoyancy device unused but prophetic. Personal tolls mounted. Son Willie died 1862, typhoid claiming him amid White House grief. Mary descended into spiritualism, seances summoning lost boys. Lincoln read Shakespeare by lamplight, finding solace in Macbeth's morrows. 1864's darkest hour, Grant's overland bloodbaths, Sherman's march to the sea, scarring Georgia 300 miles, war is cruelty, his creed. Yet Atlanta's fall flipped despair. Soldiers voted 116,000 for Lincoln absentee. Victory parades swelled Philadelphia streets as Lee yielded. Post-war phantoms haunted. Davis captured in Georgia petticoats, imprisoned till 1867. Impeachment stalked Johnson. Radical Republicans pushed 14th Amendment citizenship. Lincoln's ghost loomed over compromises. His Cooper Union speech, 1860, quelled doubters. Union sacred. Debates with Douglas exposed slavery's moral rot. Better angels of our nature? War tech leaped. Gatling guns foreshadowed mechanized hell. Mini balls multiplying lethality. Economies transformed. North's factories boomed. South's plantations crumbled. Freedmen's Bureau aided millions, schools rising from ashes. Lincoln's law partner Billy Herndon preserved quirks, wrestler, storyteller, melancholic. Dreams foretold doom. Good Friday shot fulfilled them. Ford's theater stage, blood-stained closed decades. Abraham Lincoln's thread wove through Civil War's tapestry, from humble birth to martyred giant, saving Union while shattering chains. His 1863 Thanksgiving Proclamation knit gratitude amid gore. Second inaugurals, every drop drawn by the sword, sought binding wounds. Ford's box forever marks tragedy's pivot. Legacy endures. Memorial's seated colossus gazes Potomac Ward. Words etched granite. War birthed superpower. Amendments enshrined equality. Yet echoes warn. Division lurks when malice festers. This saga of 1861 to 1865 reminds from fracture blooms resilience. What lingers in your mind from this relentless chronicle?